So Doordash, of course, is going to buy the tech company Bbot for ordering platforms at restaurants, and that cracks me up. The reason why they're doing this is because a lot of restaurants like Applebee's or restaurants out there like all these other companies that basically take advantage of the system, they get overwhelmed, obviously, with the shortage of employees, and of course, they turn the tablets off. Now, Doordash is saying, well, we'll buy this company and then we'll have the tablets here at the customer's table, but it's at the actual restaurant. So it doesn't make any sense to me. I think what they're doing is trying to get a handle on every part of the business. Like, we're giving you loans, and then we'll give loans to businesses. You know, kind of like the company store. Mike M says, mine's saying your acceptance rate, mine is 14%. Well, Mike, that's a great question. I answered a question in the comments, but I always like to talk about it. But my acceptance rate can range anywhere between, it could go up to 30% when it's high peak pay. During the snowstorm a couple weeks ago, I actually was up to 42%. But then the next day when it was clear and it was like 46 degrees, I think I declined like 110 orders in a row. So I went all the way back down to like 15%, because I'll get orders where it's literally 20 in a row where it's $2.25 or $4 or $3.75 or whatever it is. It is just whatever it is. Normally it's between 9 and 16%. Typically at lunch, it does get higher because they get better offers on Doordash than I would on Uber Eats or, of course, Grubhub. Eric D says, I dash the same place as you do. Do you prefer Middleburg or Parma? Well, both have their benefits. Now, I dash in the Middleburg area just because the volume of orders are just a lot more. There's more restaurant strips than a area there that are close together than in Parma. Parma is very vast. To kind of give you an example, if you're looking at states, Middleburg is kind of like Rhode Island, and Parma is kind of like Texas. Parma, there's literally like hotspots in Garfield Heights all the way down to Broadview Heights. And of course, Seven Hills, Independence, Brecksville. So it's a large swath. I think the square mileage is like almost 40 square miles, where the hotspots where I go through Middleburg are only about 6 or 7 square miles. So I prefer Middleburg because it's a shorter distance. Not all the time. Sometimes you do get some orders in, like, say, North Royalton, Southern Parma. But it's usually depending on when it's busiest. Now, Middleburg I usually do during the week. Parma I don't really do too much anymore just because it's too large. And they always have peak pay, meaning either A, they have too many dashers, or they just have too much going on. I really don't know, but Parma is good during the week at lunch if you want to do, let's say, Independence. The problem I have with that is that Independence is busy, but sometimes you have to wait a little bit longer for food. You have the business districts on Rockside Road, so that's a good place to go at lunch. Weekends are good, too, for the Brecksville, Broadview Heights area, because a lot of people that are in the middle class like to order food on Saturday and Sunday. Friends Aquatic says, how are potholes in Cleveland? Well, it depends on where you go. I mean, you know, in Parma, it's pretty bad. I think, like where I live here in Broadview Heights, 82, it's actually pretty decent, although it's still, there were some potholes the other day that I went over before my car went out, that were pretty bad. And the thing is that's why I never really speed, because it's in this area, there's no point, because you literally could lose your suspension. West Ridgewood Road is probably one of the worst culprits between State and Ridge Road. Is probably so chewed up. I've shown videos where it says Parma, home of the pothole-free city, and there's little craters going through the whole place. It's just ridiculous. Motley Fool has an article about inflation is good for AMC movie theaters, but bad for Doordash. Well, okay. Well, let's dive into this article. Motley Fool made an article about inflation being good for movie theaters with fixed pricing. Now, I get that, but also, too, it's cheaper entertainment. You know, a movie's, what, $12, $10, right? You order a pizza from Doordash, it's, let's say the pizza's $12 by the time you're done tipping the person, and by the time you're done ordering it, it's almost 30 bucks. So I could see that being a benefit to, of course, AMC, because it's more of a fixed cost. But Americans are lazy. They're always going to order DoorDash for the most part. I would say that it's a 50-50 thing. I think that, you know, they're saying that variable costs like DoorDash will lower with higher inflation. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I can tell you that right now it's affected me when it comes to average payouts. I mean, in December, I was averaging $11.12 a payout, but obviously it was December. January went down to $10.02. And this month it went down to, of course, $9.86. So yeah, inflation, oil price does equal payouts in my opinion, because the oil price, if it goes above 150, you're going to see less unicorn orders. That's just common sense. And fixed prices, like you go into the movies or people are just going to say, okay, well, let's go home and make the food better. It's going to make people realize and reinvent new ways to survive. You know, this isn't the day where back in the 70s, you got cost of living increases with the inflation. No, it's more of a inflationary depression. And it's pretty sad. Albert V says, bro, it's been slow, not popping here even through dinner. Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, it's basically a market-dependent infrastructure. If you're in a market like mine, I can make money basically blindfolded with 2 arms tied behind my back. But if you're in a market where you have less than 100,000 people and you only have DoorDash, then yeah, it's not a profitable venture. It's very, very difficult to make that kind of money. I'm not saying that's not impossible, but I see a lot of people frustrated, but it depends on the market you're in. If you're in a larger market, then it just depends on what's going on there as well. A lot of people, it depends on where you're dashing at. I mean, I've had times where it's been really slow. I mean, usually it's slow between the middle or towards the end to the middle of the month for me, just because that's just how it goes in my area. First of the month, it's real busy. I usually pretty well the first part of the month because people that are on fixed incomes get their check on the first. So that's probably why as well. But it depends. I mean, like I said, I know that will it get better? I don't know. Enter GLL says, I'm in California and it just seems like it's getting slower and slower and the payouts are less. It's like half what it was in 2021. Everybody's quitting their job to be a full-time dasher. Well, I don't think everybody's quitting their job to be a full-time dasher. Let's get one thing straight. Number one, 88% of the people that do DoorDash do it part-time, less than 9 hours a week. That's the statistics. That's the realistic. That's the facts. Now, it might seem like that because you're seeing more people at restaurants and you're seeing more people do that. Now, when I quit my job in corporate America, I didn't just go, okay, well, I'm just going to quit. I worked DoorDash and then I started with Grubhub part-time. In March, I got sick and then I got better. And then in April, I said, okay, well, this is what I can do. And I said, if I can make what I make or make half of what I make and still pay my bills for at least 1 month on that trajectory, I would do it. And I was able to. So I knew I was able to. A lot of people go willy-nilly into like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to be full-time. And then, 2 months later, like, oh my God, this happened to my car. And oh my God, this happened. Oh my God, this happened. That's not the way to do it. If you're wanting to do it full-time. Also, too, if you personally, I mean, like I said, if I have a job where I can work from home and make the same amount of money or even 10% less, I would do it and do this part-time. Because, yeah, it's not for everybody. It's a very stressing job. I mean, when you're your own business owner, it's not easy. I mean, like I said, I just had a starter. I had to put it in my van. And I've had tire issues after tire issues. And that's just something you have to budget for. I mean, that's just part of life.
And remember to ring that bell.